Brian, when should the Dow hit 50,000 and why?
Yeah, well, I wrote an article in Kiplinger on this, and kind of a cheeky little intro to it, when the Dow should hit 50,000 and why. Well, how the heck would you know? And why would it ever go that high? So why I wrote the article was kind of in response to what I hear a lot of people ask me. They say, well, gee, isn't the market's an all-time high, I better sell or not be in it. How can it be this high, and so forth and so on. But then I think about, your real estate. Did you ever think that house, I've talked to people that paid $3,000 for a house in Seattle, and now that house is $1.5 million. So is it too high? Is it going to go back to 3,000? Well, of course not. Inflation means that things are always going to be going up. So this is just another example of that. So I wanted to talk about this because I'm afraid a lot of people think, well, I better not be in the market long term because I think it's too high. But realistically, it should always be at an all-time high, theoretically, because companies are continuing to earn profits.
Brian, when we hear that the Dow's 20,000, 30, 35,000, what exactly does that number represent?
Yeah, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. The Dow is 30 companies, but even if you look at the S&P 500, which is fairly meaningful with 500 companies, really what I'm looking at, though, is back in 1972, the Dow hit 1,000. And companies generally make, on average, about 6% of their value in profits every year. And on average, historically, they've been growing that profit at about 7% a year. So if you extrapolate that 1,000 forward, using those figures, you would expect that the Dow would be it's just a math equation. That was the reason I wrote the article. Was I just did a math equation. I remember when the Dow was 1,000. Well, what if companies are growing their earnings at 7% a year? Well, extrapolate that forward. When I wrote this article, the Dow should have been about 20,000, and it was about that. Extrapolate further to now, and maybe it's in the low 30s. If you extrapolate that out to 2030, the year 2030, assuming companies continue to grow their earnings at 7% a year, the Dow would be 50,000. I'm not saying it will be, it won't be, it probably won't be 50. It'll be more, it'll be less, I don't know. I can't predict that, but I can predict numbers. Just pure math says that as companies continue to earn profits and retain those profits, they grow in value over time. So I'm just extrapolating the long-term growth averages that say that the Dow and any stock market should be going up over time long term. Now, they don't do it in a straight line, though. We all remember 1987, the dot-com, 9/11, 2008 banking crisis, COVID, and you may be at a point in your life where it doesn't make sense for you to do that. But if you can be a long-term investor and hold on, it's probably likely that the stock markets will go up over your lifetime, just not in a straight line.
So, Brian, speaking of when the Dow can hit 50,000, how high do you think the Dow can go, and what effect will it have on people watching this video?
Well, there is no limit, just as there's no limit to how high the dollar goes, as relative to, you watch old movies and, they buy a steak dinner for 5 cents. Well, now you pay $50 for that same steak dinner. So there really is no limit due to inflation, earnings, and so forth. Figures expand, the value of real estate expands, value of stock markets expand, the buying power decreases over time, and just, we just keep adding zeros to the numbers. So there really, the point of this wasn't what the Dow will be someday. The point of this is that long-term investors may want to consider a component of their investment strategy be put in the stock market.
Brian, should investors really take seriously what the Dow numbers are? Are they really that important to someone who is trying to figure out a financial plan?
No, the figure itself, whether it's 30,000, 40,000, that's kind of irrelevant. It's just an indication, and we just use it for comparative purposes.
Thanks, Brian.